You're listening to REIA Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out REIARadio.com.
If you want to build a 1% life, if you want to be that CEO, that's what you're saying. I want a 1% life. And in order to do that, you have to do things that other people won't do. Investors, landlords, think in terms of rent. But when you stack ancillary income streams, your rentals become your ecosystem. And this is how CEOs think. Where's my ecosystem? The ecosystem serves residents, generates loyalty, and maximizes profits.
You're going to want to stay put because we've got 5 rock star presenters today, each with a little bit different background and kind of type of investing they do within multifamily, but deep knowledge. All right, so speakers, who do we got? We've got some killers. So combined, our group of presenters that we're going to have today between owning, operating, managing, have about 10,000 units collectively. That's a lot. Okay, so it's pretty much buying a small town and running it like a multifamily community. So we're really excited to welcome Jeri Schlickbernd, Wyatt Simon, Chris Pomerleau, Andy Corey, and Colin Schwartz. Right? So we're going to cover creative deal structuring that actually gets deals closed and doesn't land you in jail. The esoteric world of syndications and raising capital. That of interest to anybody in here? How do you raise money? Okay, you're gonna learn a lot about that. Systems to help you sleep at night, how to manage and operate portfolios and work with third-party property managers. How do you even find a third-party property manager? How do you know if they're any good? You're going to find out some tips and tricks from that. How do you avoid burnout when you've been doing this a long time like I am? I'm actually only 25 years old, but you can see what this real estate game has done to me. Let's see, what else? Networking, a word that gets thrown around a lot. You guys have done a big step with that by attending this conference today. Look around the room today. Everyone in here is interested in multifamily investing. So during our breaks, get a little speed networking in. We've got an hour break for lunch, and we've got some drinks afterwards to grease the wheels with your conversations.
I could say that every speaker that we have, including yourself, except Jeri Schlickbernd, of course, I have met through networking. Yeah. And mainly through this REIA before we even took it over. Yeah, that's what Ted calls going to the gym. That's really him walking slowly around a track, looking desperately for people to talk to. So. We love you, Ted. I'm desperate. Well, without any further ado, I think it's time to introduce today's speaker. What do you say?
I love it.
Yeah. Jeri's like, you burned up a couple of my minutes now. Come on. Well, our first speaker today, as I mentioned, is Jeri Schlickbernd. I've known her for a long time. She's a former boss of mine, a real estate mentor, and an old business partner with DVG Realty. We've done deals together, learned from each other, and I just firsthand just how sharp and strategic she is. Jeri Schlickbernd is a powerhouse in real estate with over 20 years of experience under her belt. She's an investor, a broker, an asset manager who has built a multi-million-dollar portfolio across every corner of the industry. Alongside her husband, Mike Schlickbernd, she co-founded and grew Dream Investing Capital, as well as several other businesses, all aimed at helping investors scale with purpose, impact, and serious returns. Over the years, Jeri and Mike have launched and grown companies in property management, construction, sales, coaching, and more. Each one designed to solve real problems to improve performance for both investors and their teams. She is a mom of 3 amazing kids, a community builder, and a leader who brings both heart and precision to everything she does. Let's kick off the day with someone who has walked the walk and continues to help others level up. Please give us a loud, warm welcome to Jeri Schlickbernd.
Good morning, REIA. Come on, you guys. Where's my morning people? Woo! I am not a morning person, and Ted knows that. So I was like, I'm first? Okay. I'm going to need you guys' help today. Can we get some interaction throughout this, please? Thank you. So, who is excited to level up today? Woo! You guys, I'm so honored to be kicking off this event with these powerhouse speakers. These guys who are coming after me today have really walked the walk over the years, and they're genuine people who are here to help you level up your thinking, achieve your goals, and really create the life of your dreams. And each of you can do that because regardless of what you think of us, what you hear about us today, we all started right where you are. Just remember that. You can be here next year, or in 5 years, or 10 years. Or maybe, like my husband, you never have to speak from stage because you don't ever want to do that. That's fine too. So when I started about 15 years ago investing, I was usually the only woman in the room. And today I'm still the only woman speaking, which tells me we have a lot of work to do, ladies. So can I just get a little round of applause? All the ladies in this room, please stand up for me. I want to honor you for being here. Okay. And I'm going to go a little off script here, but can you guys all come up here? And I need one of you guys to take a picture. I've been representing the women for a lot of years. Get your butts up here. I want a picture. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for humoring me with this. It means a lot to me. You have no idea. It has been many years hoping that there's more women following in the footsteps, and it's happening all the time. By a show of hands, how many people in here have a real estate portfolio, whether it's 1 or 1,000 doors? Raise your hands. Awesome. And keep your hands up. I didn't say to put them down. I said this was interactive. How many of you who have your hands up feel like you're a CEO? Okay, we have some work to do. If you have a real estate portfolio, you have a business. You should be running it as a business, and you should believe that you're the CEO of the business. Side hustles bring you a little bit of money. Businesses create legacy wealth, okay? How many of you in here, let me hear you hoot and holler, say aye, if you want an easy life? Okay, good news. You guys don't have to pay attention to my talk. You don't have to take notes. You can also change your mind. That's fine too. But being a business owner, being a CEO is not easy. It's hard. There's been many times along the way where I've wished that I wasn't built like this, that I'm constantly thinking of new businesses and what can I do next, because there's an easier path, and that path is fine too. But for those of you who know that you're a CEO or want to be a CEO, you are saying to yourself, to me, to the world, that you believe in yourself. You have a vision bigger than most people, and you're willing to go for it. You want to live by your own rules. You want to create your own income. You have this vision that you know you can achieve. You also know you could fail, but you believe in yourself so much that you're going to go for it. It's not easy. There's no crying in real estate investing. It's hard, right? But it's worth it. Can I tell you a little bit about my story? Is that all right? Okay. So Ted didn't give away my whole age. I've actually been in real estate for 25 years. I've been investing for about 20 of those years. I started my career in Arizona, in Phoenix, and I bought my first rental properties in, what would that have been, 2005. Promptly lost them in 2009. And so I moved to Omaha. I was a real estate broker, met my husband, the contractor, 2 days later. So real estate couple match made in heaven, right? So, you know, at the time, I clearly didn't believe I was a CEO. I didn't even believe I could invest in real estate because I had tried and failed. And I wasn't feeling so great about myself, but I was still doing real estate because that's what I did. That's how I know what to do. And so I started selling houses to investors. Mike started renovating these houses for investors. And we quickly realized that the investors were the ones making all the money and we were doing all the work. And so we decided to bet on ourselves. Even though I was nervous, I didn't believe in myself, I had a lot of mental chatter going on up here. But we decided to go for it. So that first year, we weren't even married yet. We flipped 3 houses. And then we started growing. We had friends and family invest with us. We started adding. I think the next year we did 8 houses. Eventually, which I'll talk more about, we built several businesses, tons of ancillary income streams, and we have flipped about 300 doors over the years, most of them being single-family homes. So when we started, Mike and I were the people. I was the realtor, he was the contractor. We did all these things ourselves. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that right now. Find the house, negotiate the offer, find the financing. If you have investors, find the investors, communicate with them, keep them happy, do an estimate on the project, control the subcontractors, collect the rent, buy the materials, blah, 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 right? It gets to be a lot. And this is great though. We did good. But real estate investing offers you the opportunity to do really good if you make that mindset shift from being the person to being the business owner, the CEO. And so how do you do that? That transition from being the person to being the business owner was one of the hardest ones of my life, one of the hardest mindset shifts. And how many of you can relate to these phrases? If it's to be, it's up to me. If I want it done correctly, I might as well do it. It takes too long to train somebody, I could just do it myself. Raise your hand. Yeah, some of us are laughing. You're my people. This still today, I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna train you, right? So that's the mindset of this, okay? And it's fine. But you can only grow so big if you're the person, right? You can only do so much. You've got 24 hours in a day, and you don't want to give yourself a heart attack. I spent a night in a hospital once because I thought I might be giving myself a heart attack. I don't recommend it. It's not so great. So the mindset. If you've heard me speak before, you know that I don't just talk about the how-to. Because I can teach somebody the how-to all day long, but if you don't believe you can, you're not going to do it. Or you're going to try and fail because we have to believe that we're right. We have to prove ourselves right. And so this is a diagram that explains how your values, your programs, beliefs, thoughts directly impact your results. So if you can replace programs, beliefs with thoughts, if your thoughts are, if it's to be, it's up to me, it takes too long to train someone else, then your results are only going to be as big as you can do yourself. That's your only option. But if you change your thoughts and beliefs to be, the world is abundant, there's so many people that want to help me build this, I want to help people grow, I can train people, and then there's leverage, there's so many opportunities, then your results are the sky's the limit, as big as you want to build it, right? Okay, so today we're talking about ancillary businesses, ancillary income that can go with and support your real estate investing. So what is ancillary income and businesses? So first of all, let me say, businesses are something that you build that help you in your investing, but also help other clients. Ancillary income is something that helps your portfolio retain or grow more income itself. So ancillary businesses for me are property management, real estate sales, construction. We had a roofing company for a while, things like that. They can be mowing, snow removal, HVAC, all these things. Ancillary income can be things like adding coin-operated laundry, vending machines, dry cleaning service, things like that, experiences, conveniences, things that your tenants will pay for or that they're already paying somebody else for that you could easily bring in-house. And so think of it this way. Where's the holes in the boat? If your property is your boat and your tenant's boat, where are they spending money that you could easily add? I wouldn't, on a smaller unit, you're not going to add like a restaurant, but if you have a couple hundred units or 1,000 units in a property, you might add a restaurant, or a coffee bar. But in most multifamilies, you can at least add laundry. You can at least add mowing. So we're going to talk about these kind of things today, throughout the day. Okay, so I want to show you how our business grew so that you can see that any of you guys can do it too. And I know a lot of you are realtors. That's how I started. I got my license in 2000, became a broker in 2008. When I moved to Omaha, a lot of the brokerages were recruiting me because I was doing short sales, which wasn't a thing here yet. And I thought, why would I spend money with you when I can do it myself? So plugging a hole, right? Already thinking that way. And so I started myself, like I showed you earlier. Mike had his construction that he was doing. And then these were our first hires. So Tim Stevens' lovely wife, Kim, was my first employee / partner in the real estate. Yeah, I didn't ask permission, so we put a different Kim on here. That is not his wife, in case you're wondering. Of course, Mike had some laborers, some contractors in his business, and then we together hired a bookkeeper. That was our business. We worked out of our house. We had one of our bedrooms as an office, and there you go. Okay, so that eventually grew into businesses. So I started the sales, the company. Kim and I grew to an actual real estate brokerage. Mike's company grew. We started doing investments together that we brought other investors into. Our investors actually asked us to start the property management company. Something that I'm going to say several times throughout the day is it is easier to get happy clients to spend more money with you than it is to find a new client. Your clients, if you have rental properties, are also your tenants. This is a segue, but we have such a mind in real estate investing of me versus them, buyer versus seller, owner versus tenant. And I just want to encourage you that the world is changing and people want community. Start thinking of them as your clients. They're your partners. There's no need for contention with people that rent a property from you. Agreed? Woo! Coach me, coach. Come on. Eventually, this is what our company looked like. We had the sales, we had investments, we had property management, we had title companies that came and went, we had a roofing company, construction, we added short-term rental management and ownership. I added coaching, and dream vesting is kind of the overall of a lot of that. We also had a ton of ancillary income streams throughout this, which are things like mowing, laundry. I don't know, we don't have any vending machines, but we started like staging short-term rentals, just anywhere that we could plug the holes, right? Not all of these businesses are still here today. Some of them grew to 7 figures. Some of them came and went. Title companies came and went based off of the rules and regulations of the state. Our roofing company came and went. In 2000, the manager of that company passed away from a brain tumor. And we were going through some personal stuff. It was 2020. We didn't have the emotional ability or wherewithal to replace him. And so we didn't, but that's part of this. Like I said, it's not easy being a business owner. It's hard. And it's okay if it's too hard. You know, sometimes you have to be conscious of if it's too hard to start a business or continue a business. We've learned a lot along the way. Would we do it again? For the most part, yeah. In fact, right now, for those of you who haven't heard, we moved our family back from Florida, and we're repositioning some of our companies. We're repositioning Dreamvesting to include the management, investment, sales, and coaching. We're doing it differently this time. We've learned a lot along the way. We're doing it more succinctly. We're doing it with more leverage. We're doing it with less time. I told you, I just turned 50. Time is now my most important value. Where before hustling and money was my number one value, now it's time. I want to be comfortable, but I want to enjoy my life. I would like to retire early. So it's a combination of both of those. And then, Mike is over here with the construction company because working with your spouse, if anybody wants to talk about that, we've learned a lot about that along the way. We still totally work together. It's just a little bit different. But you can see how we've set all of these businesses up. Everybody has a specific role. There's an organizational chart for everything. All of that is so important, but what's most important is that you know your values and goals. Going back to that slide, you have to know what is important to you. Because like for me, I am a yes person. I love to say yes. Like Ted and Owen know if they call me at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Friday and their guest has just canceled because they're sick, will you come be on our podcast? Yep, here I come. Like, will you start a property management business? Yep, we will do it, Like all of these things, it's so easy to say yes to, but if it's not in alignment with your values, if you don't believe you can, if you don't really want to, it's not going to be successful. So it's important that you really think about this today. Because by the end of the day, you're going to be all fired up to grow your businesses, which you should, but also sit down with yourself for a little bit and really think about, what do I want? Where do I want to go? Because like I said in the beginning, real estate can really take you so many places. There's so much opportunity with it as long as you build it correctly. We didn't always build it correctly. A lot of times we built it out of yes. We threw people into a place in a business that they didn't necessarily belong in. We were running super fast. We didn't always think about if it made sense. And I would encourage you to do that. And if you need a little help with that, look around the room. There's a lot of people here that are here to help you. But would I do it again? For the most part, yeah, I would. And here's why. So why add ancillary businesses? Here's why. Okay, I'm going to have you think of this slide in a few different ways. First of all, if you have a rental property and you're paying somebody $100 to mow it, which if with commercial mowing companies, $100 is low today, but say you're paying $100, but you could go mow it on a Saturday yourself and save that $100. You just plugged a hole. You just retained money, and the more money that you retain, the guys are going to show you throughout the day how they look at numbers and how we run pro formas on our portfolios. Every dollar you save increases the value of your portfolio and thereby increases your wealth. So you just saved $100. But say you don't want to mow, or that $100 is not worth your time. Because you should also all know how valuable your time is. And the easiest way to calculate that is take your highest income producing thing that you do. So if you're a realtor, closing a deal is your highest income thing that you do, right? Take that commission, for example. Say it's $5,000, which may be high after all of your costs, but say it's $5,000, and you spend 50 hours doing it. That's $100 an hour, right? So just easy math, whatever it is that you do, and be really honest with yourself. You might be surprised how valuable your time is. It's probably more than $100. So because you know that number, you hire your little brother to go mow the lawn. And between paying him and paying for gas and things like that, your expense is $50. You saved or made $50. Okay, so you just use leverage to save, in that case, $50. If you're a CEO, you think, well, my little brother could mow 10 lawns in a Saturday afternoon. I'm going to go knock on all the doors in the neighborhood and get 10 more lawns that he can do. And then with that same mower, a little bit more gas, and your little brother, you just made $500 every Saturday afternoon. See the difference in mindset? Everybody say CEO. CEO. You can do this, right? It's not that hard. I didn't say your brother was a child. Come on now. Although I would have my kid do that. They know it. So it's just a mindset shift. We want to look at business owners and people up here speaking like we know so much more than you. But really, all we do is think like this and we hustle hard. And eventually it just builds. And like I said earlier, would I do this again? Yes, because it has given us so much opportunity, so much choice. We just lived in Florida for 2 years in a house that we're now Airbnb-ing as a vacation rental. It gave me a 2-year vacation. For those of you who haven't heard, we're back in Omaha rebuilding this. And we had mowing as an ancillary business, and then we stopped doing it for a while, and now we're bringing it back in for this exact reason. Yes, because no ancillary business is too small. We do, like, every property has coin-operated laundry. Every property we're going to be mowing and doing the snow removal. There's no business that's like beneath us. Another thing with CEO thinking, when you walk to your properties, do you walk past trash or volunteer trees that are growing up out of your bushes? Or do you pick it up? If you're a true CEO, you will pick it up. Because it doesn't matter. Everybody who knows me for a long time, I walk the crappiest houses like this, in heels and usually a trash bag, and I just do it. And then I go back and train my people who walked past the volunteer tree too many times. Why did that happen? But nothing is below you. Nothing is. If you want to build a 1% life, if you want to be that CEO, that's what you're saying. I want a 1% life. And in order to do that, you have to do things that other people won't do. Amen. So investors, thank you. Investors, landlords, think in terms of rent. But when you stack ancillary income streams, your rentals become your ecosystem. And this is how CEOs think. Where's my ecosystem? The ecosystem serves residents, generates loyalty, and maximizes profit. Here's what our ecosystem, this is just a simple of what our ecosystem has looked like for about 12 years now. Take, for example, coaching. A lot of you in here have been through one of my classes in the past. Raise your hands. Woohoo! Come on, you guys. Woohoo! So, I know, I'm going to do jumping jacks up here in a second. So, somebody comes in to me. I meet them because they come to my coaching class, for example. After my coaching class, they realize that if I can do it, they can do it. And so they're ready to buy a property. So then we help them with acquisitions. We had our real estate team. We are kind of doing that again. So we help them with acquisitions. And then because they took my class, they know that they should not buy the best house on the block. They should buy something they can add value to. So that house goes into construction, to the construction company. And then they either sell it, if it's flip, or they bring it into our property management company because they've been happy with the cycle all around. And then they're coming back into my coaching because now I'm teaching them how to grow their portfolio. And this doesn't even include our ancillary income. This is just the businesses. But see how we've created a whole ecosystem to keep one client with us along the way, hopefully keep them happy and keep them coming back for more. Because again, what did I say earlier? It's easier to get a happy, loyal client to spend more money with you than it is to find a new one. Think about that statement with your tenants. Is it easier to say, hey, we now have a dog washing station? They're gonna stay with you because people don't like to move, they don't like change, right? They already enjoy living with you. Now they're gonna stay longer. Maybe they'll renew for 2 years. But if they're not happy, because say you don't have like laundry, you don't have a laundry option on site and they have to go to the laundromat down the street every day and it's kind of dingy and creepy and they don't feel comfortable, then they're looking for, I need a place where I can do my laundry. And they leave. Now you've got to turn the unit, and if you have a property management company, you're paying them for marketing. Usually a half month's lease if they place a new tenant, right? So begin to think about, how can I create this ecosystem? Now, who wants to know how to decide what businesses you should bring in? Yeah? Okay. Write these down. If you're going to grow some businesses, write these down because these are really what you need to think about. First of all, does it support what you're already doing, or is it going to detract from the goal? Does it help you move forward towards the goal? Or are you taking your eyes off the ball by doing a business that isn't in line with what you're already doing? Do you have the necessary funds to build or to buy the business? Or even to buy into the business? There's so many ways. Andrea and I were talking before this. There's so many ways to get into a business. You don't have to own the whole thing. You can partner with somebody else. But do you have the funds necessary to do that, or the skills necessary to do that? Or is it going to be taking funds away from something that you're already doing? Does it require a lot of time and effort? Because if you're young, do it, but if you're my age, does it require a lot of time and effort? Or are you able to put people into place quickly, or are you buying into a business that already has the people? My favorite businesses, honestly, to own were the title companies because they required almost no time and effort from me. I just got a check every month. It was beautiful. And finally, is the projected return worth the effort? Is it worth the cost, time, effort? So let's think about this. I just showed you my ecosystem. About 2021, I want to say, my husband and one of our key employees decided that they would start a smash room and an escape room in a building, a commercial building that we had in Bellevue. We were having trouble renting the commercial building, and they thought, oh, this will be great. But does it go with our ecosystem? No, it's not in line with what we were already doing. It did help with the goal of getting that property rented, but it didn't help with the overall goal. So it took their eyes off the prize. We had the funds, but it was only about $30,000 to build it out. However, the return was not ever going to be that great. It was a pretty low return business, so not a great ROI, and it required a lot of time and effort from them in the beginning, and then because it took their eyes off the prize, they had to be working towards the goal at all times. This was a side hustle, and they didn't even have really the time to find the right person to run it, train them, oversee it. And so that business, we just closed it up after about a year, and a bit of a financial loss instead of a gain that we were hoping for. So always be thinking about that. Did you guys know that a large percentage of CEOs have ADD or ADHD? And also a large percent of them have bipolar tendencies. And so we're excited one day, sad the next day. Excited one day, sad the next day. One of my coaches, because this is me, he's like, congratulations, you're right where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be the CEO. So if that rings a bell with you guys, welcome to the party. You're right where you're supposed to be. But shiny object syndrome, right? And I'd like to say yes. So if somebody comes to me and says, I have great business for you, I'm like, oh my God, I now have to go back to my values and beliefs and like sit calmly alone and go, okay, does this make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. Okay, eyes back on the prize. However, if it makes sense, do it. Plug the hole in the boat. There's no reason why not to do it. Okay, how do you know that the businesses will run smoothly? Each of your businesses should have an org chart like this, even if it's just you. Like say you're just mowing. Say it's an ancillary business right now. Okay, you're the person. Just put yourself up there. But then think the next step. Who's the next person I'm going to hire? It's a mowing person. It's maybe 2 mowing people. And then who are we going to hire? You know, we're going to hire the guys that clean up the parking lot, that shovel the rocks back up onto the landscaping, right? Like build it out so that you know and you start thinking like a CEO, okay, now I have 50 yards in a weekend, it's time to hire the next person. Does that make sense? Say CEO. One thing that you'll hear probably talked a lot about today is systems. The devil is in the details. That is so true. You have to have systems. It's non-negotiable. Trust me, I learned the hard way. I'm a doer. We're always constantly running, and we threw businesses together with no systems before, and man, it's so hard to put the systems in after you started. So much easier to have this set up before you start so that you're ready to go. And when you hit the mark where you know you need the next person because you can't do it anymore, then you hire that person. You know exactly who you're looking for, and you know what that person's going to do. And these are called SOPs, or Standard Operating Procedures. And then they're measured on how well they're doing the job with KPIs, Key Performance Indicators. And nobody should have more than 3 of each of those at any given time. Of course, they do a lot of things in their day, but it's all geared towards those 3 things in their specific role. And that, everybody doing their role helps the whole ecosystem grow. We don't have time to go into all of that today. That's a big conversation. But I highly recommend that you read the book Rocket Fuel if this is what you want to build. It lays it out step by step. It's so good. And then how do we measure or how do we track success of our businesses? Easy. The first thing is profitability. Everybody say profit. That's what we're here for. Next, client satisfaction. Everybody say happy customers. KPIs and SOPs. Everybody say systems. And then happiness factor. Are you happy? Say happy. That's the whole point. Nobody gets into real estate investing because they don't want a great life. They want another job, right? If it doesn't make you happy, don't do it. You know, again, I've learned the hard way. We've done businesses that I didn't love. I wasn't even very quiet about the fact that I didn't love them because they were time-consuming, they were contentious, it was just hard business. And it's not worth it. Do the ones that you love. Enjoy it. Have fun along the way. And when you're beginning, another question I wanted to answer was year 1. What do we focus on year 1? Well, year 1, pick the business or even the ancillary income stream. If you're not ready to be a CEO, pick the ancillary. Find one and become really good at it. You know, become efficient, track your numbers, create a solid foundation. Pretty soon, it might just evolve into a business on its own if you do those things, if you track the numbers, if you have a system and you love what you're doing. You might one day look around and go, wow, this was a passion and now it's a business, right? By year 5, you should be scaling your team, stacking more businesses, more ancillaries, and building that ecosystem that we talked about. plugging those holes. So 3 ancillary income streams that not all investors/landlords think of. The first one is resident services and amenities. People will pay for convenience and comfort, and small charges compound into NOI boosts. And remember what I said earlier is the guys this afternoon are going to go through numbers in more detail, but every dollar increases the value of your property, thereby increasing your wealth. So think of some of these things. Utility services have become some of the easiest to add into multifamily. And I'll just give you a quick example. We have a property that's a 21 unit in Lincoln, and we pay for internet there. The internet bill is $750, and we charge the tenants $75 a month. So we're making $750 a month from that internet service, and that's cheaper than what they would pay for that level of service anyway, and it's already there. Reserved parking, bike lockers, pet rent, pet amenities are becoming a really big thing too. People love their pets, and so catering to pets is great because those kind of things will attract tenants and keep tenants. In-house or partnered services. So this is the vertical integration. This is your property management, your construction, your plumbing companies, things like that. Lawn care is one of the easiest ones to add. And again, many landlords outsource these services at cost, but CEOs think, how can I make this a profit center? Say CEO. And then the third one, lead funnel monetization. So again, ecosystem thinking, like we were talking about, turning your tenant base into buyers through in-house brokerage, referral fees, offering coaching. There's all sorts of ways to turn your tenants into clients for other businesses. Use your portfolio as a feeder for these other services. And a lot of you are realtors. That's a really easy way. Like, show tenants how they can become buyers. And once you've showed them how to become a buyer, teach them how to become an investor. You know, don't let that person go because it's easier and cheaper to get a happy client to spend more money with you than it is to find a new one. So let me tell you a quick little case study, because one thing that I've learned is that systems are great, all of this big thinking is great, but I kind of touched on this earlier. People don't just want systems. They don't just want to see like clean profitability, like this is ran really well and they're constantly raising the rent on us every year. People are catching on to that, and in this community, in this environment today, the world's changing and people want community. They want to know that you care. They want to see your heart in it. So we just had the opportunity to reposition that property in Lincoln, that 21 unit. September 1st, it was going to be 50% occupied. I've never had a property 50% occupied. We tried 3 different property management companies to turn it around, and everybody just kept making excuses and not doing it. So my team went down, and we spent about 3 days at the property. We spent about 3 days there just cleaning it up, picking the volunteer trees, picking up trash, moving the rocks back up into the landscaping, and putting some air fresheners, because one of the tenants who moved out actually moved in 14 cats when they left. So the place smelled like cat pee. And we went down there, turned it around. We met every single prospective tenant. We hired an on-site property manager, and we had that thing 100% occupied with better tenants and higher rent within 2 weeks. But guess what? They had my cell phone number. They have the property management's cell phone number now. We showed them that we care, and everything turned around that quickly. They also, we're going to market our coaching to them. We're going to teach them how to be owners, because this is a lot of students. We're going to teach them how to buy a house. We're going to bring them into the fold, into that ecosystem, and they will be our biggest cheerleaders. As we begin to add ancillary income streams that support them, they're not going to leave. so exciting when you start doing things like that. So I'm going to leave you with this, and then we can do Q&A. Landlords collect rent. CEOs build ecosystems that build legacies. And your legacy starts now. Thank you guys so much. Questions?
Jeri, one side note. I don't think you would probably be a very good shark on Shark Tank with your willingness to say yes to everything. I think you might run out of funds really quickly there. So might not want to go on there if they invite you. Who's got some questions? All right, Andre.
Well, I'm Andre. My question was for you when you were, I think it's for the sake of time, because we ate it up at the beginning, that you didn't want to go into some stories, but you kind of alluded to some things that I thought were interesting, like you said you were working with your husband, and so I guess for damage control for some of us, what are some do's and don'ts from your journey that you would shoot off the hip?
Well, don't say yes to everything. That list I gave with the questions to ask yourself about the businesses that you're starting, that's a really good list to work from, because as a entrepreneur-minded, it's just so easy to say yes. I hear about businesses all the time that I'm like, oh my gosh, that ROI, that profit looks so good, I could totally do that. But then I have to remember that if it doesn't feed the ecosystem, I can't do it. If it doesn't fit all of those things, it's really difficult to do. If it takes the eyes off the prize, it doesn't move the ball forward, then you're gonna find that you're too scattered and nothing is really going that well. Like, I will tell you, is Chris in here? Hi, Chris. I'm gonna share a story, okay? Chris and I and my husband bought our first multifamily together. It's a 20 unit down in Midtown. And Chris bought that building and then went in one direction and is at several thousand units now. My husband and I bought that building, and then we built ancillary businesses and didn't go in that same direction. And we have a couple hundred units. And so there was a lot of times when I thought, we should have done what Chris did and just went in that one direction and focused on that one thing. Now, I'm not unhappy because our businesses also supported that. However, what's your goal? Really, that's so important to know, because that dictates your results. And there was a lot of times too, working with my husband, there's been a lot of times where we weren't necessarily on the same page. And I might be giving away one of our secrets, ladies, but women know how to maneuver our husbands a little bit. And so sometimes I'm a little bit more CEO minded. He's a little bit more like of the doer. Like, he cleans up my messes and creates businesses out of them. And so I'm like, oh my God, that's a great idea. And we're just gonna start doing this. And then eventually he came along behind and helped. And that was not a smart way to do something with your spouse/partner in life, in business. You should be on the same page with the same goals, same thinking and values, so that you can grow cohesively together in the same direction at all times. Does that help? Okay. Thanks.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm Susan. I'm so glad you're speaking. I just want a comment and then a question.
Okay.
So a comment is, I came to REIA about 2.5 years ago, and I was one of the only women. Thanks. I was one of the only women I felt in there, and I was about to buy a 7-plex by myself, totally terrified. Colin was the speaker, if Colin's around here, so he was very inspirational. But so for the women here, keep going, because it's great, but it is terrifying at the same time, being the only gal. But anyway, I'm stuck in that I'm doing it all. So I'm stuck in, everyone calls me first, then I assess. And so can you elaborate a little bit more on getting out of this mindset that everything has to come to me?
Yeah.
And letting it go and building better systems?
Yeah. So first of all, we should talk afterwards, because I have some really great coaching around this for anybody, not just women. But secondly, what I would encourage you to do is a couple of things, and I can get you these resources. But first, take 1 week and write down everything that you do. Don't try to sit down and do this. Just keep a notebook with you or notes on your phone and literally like, I did this, 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 and this. Or like at lunch, write down everything you did so you can track all the things you're doing, because I guarantee it's so many different things you'll forget, right? So track that and then take that information and put it into what I call a sweet spot quadrant. And it's literally like on an Excel spreadsheet, draw a line down the middle and a line across this way. And then in the top, you're gonna put, I love to do. At the bottom, I don't love to do. I'm good at, I'm not good at. And then you're gonna quadrant them. I love it and I'm good at it, to I hate it and I'm not good at it. And then the first thing you're gonna get off your plate is the hate it and not good at it. Because you're definitely the bottleneck there. Yes. And then you can start working on the rest of it. With the hate it and not good at it, create an organizational chart. Do you need a VA? If you hate it and you don't like it, you probably need more than a VA. You probably need like a general manager type person, or just outsource it, because it's not worth the stress. Right. You know, it's that Pareto rule, that 80-20. If you get a couple of those things that drive you crazy off your plate, it'll free up 80% of your day. Okay. And then you can focus on the 20% that you love. Okay. That's a really good starting place.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Hi.
Hi, I'm Cheyenne Robertson. So I had 2 questions. That was the first one, is my husband and I are partners together, but I do probably 80% of all that's being done. So trying to better understand the systems that we should have in place to do that. The second question was, we only are doing single family and would love to start doing this. So as having that kind of partnership, and also our properties are all over the nation, different states. We don't have anything local yet. We'd love to do that. So what would you recommend the next step to start in that multifamily space, having a spouse as a partner, and then navigating that successfully?
So starting locally, think about what's working right with the properties that you have already, and what are your systems that you already have that you maybe don't even realize that you have, and then document them and then recreate that here locally, and then look at plugging the holes, because there's going to be a lot of things that you aren't doing with the out-of-state properties because you're not there that you could be doing here. Once you figure out what those are, create an organizational chart around it. And then with your husband, you have to have a very open heart-to-heart, because one of the things, if you're doing 80% of the work, it's really easy to get angry and bitter, like he should be doing something. But really look at, like, what are your gifts, you know? Like, I'm more the CEO driver type person. My husband hates public speaking. He doesn't think that way. And I'm also more strategic. So I have to be okay that I kind of have to show him what to do, but then he does all the stuff I need to do. And so you have to have that heart to heart, like really honest. It helps a lot of times to even have a third party, a coach, somebody that knows how to guide you through that. And then lay that out in your organizational chart so that you're each super happy about the roles that you're doing. Because if you're happy about it, you're gonna grow it. And just like I was saying here, for each of you, do that sweet spot quadrant and make sure neither one of you are doing the things that you hate and you're not good at. Get those off your plate, because you might find a lot of times opposites attract. You might find that he hates something that you love and vice versa. And then you can easily go, oh, well, no wonder you're not doing that because you hate it. I will do that. You do this thing, you know? And then that's where you really create that partnership.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for the question. It's a great question. Anything else? One more? One more, guys?
Jeri, I've got one for you.
Okay.
How important do you think it is as an investor that's going to be coming into or looking to get into multifamily investing to time the market? You've been through several different market cycles. Do you think that people hear how difficult the market is to operate in now? Is that a red herring? Is that a boogeyman that people shouldn't be afraid of? Or how do you look at things now, and what advice might you give to somebody that's looking to make their next move up?
Okay, so can I give a little story, a little parable maybe? So if I had an opportunity, say, Mo, can I use you? Can you help me with this? Okay, so I have an investment that's gonna pay $1,000 and I need you to give me $10. Would you do that? Okay, what if you didn't have the $10?
I would get the $10.
You would get the $10. Okay, what if Ted was going to loan you the $10, but he was going to loan it at 100% interest rate? You'd still do it, right? Right. Interest rate doesn't matter. There's always deals out there. There's always opportunities. Ask any investor who's been doing this for at least a decade or as long enough to have been through a cycle. And I don't know, I might be the one in the room. I've been doing this a long time. But there's never a better time to buy real estate than yesterday, last year, the year before. So like even for example, my in-laws bought a house in Phoenix in 2007. I want to say they paid, let's say $450 for it. So in 2010, we were like, oh crap, that's worth $300,000 now. You just lost $150,000. Well, guess what? Today it's worth $1.5 million. Like, just hold on to it. Make sure that you have the resources to hold on through the tight markets, and then also be willing to pivot. Like, one of the greatest skills that I have that, Ted has helped me capitalize on and Kim helped me capitalize on throughout the years was pivoting. Like if there's a roadblock, go around it and create a business out of it, like short sales. I moved my whole real estate business to Omaha in 2010 because I did short sales and no one else in Omaha was doing it. And that first year, I was involved in 100 transactions in the worst market in Omaha. No one can usually move a real estate business, period, let alone do 100 transactions year one. Like, it is not that hard. Here's what people do. There's a problem, and we go, oh my God, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem. Well, okay, get the 30,000-foot view, and then you can see possibility. You can see that the universe is abundant and infinite, and there's always a possibility. If you just can pull back from the problem and see it. So, if you're struggling with that, come talk to me, and I will tell you, of my friend group, my friends know when they're having a problem. They know who to call when they need somebody to like, oh, poor you, and then they call me when they want actual results and they want to get off their ass and move. So just warning you, if you come talk to me, don't expect to pour me because I'm not going to give it to you. I've been through there, done that, and I have to tell you, Colin made a post about the market, and I was like, F yeah, I'm like, this is my market. I love it because there's opportunity. And no offense to anybody, but 80% of you will drop out because it's too hard. And me and Colin will buy your shit.
Yeah. Give it up for Jeri Schlickbernd. Woo. Good job. Thank you.
You guys, this is me in technology. I'll tell you another secret because ladies aren't supposed to tell their age. I turned 50 in May, and for about 5 years, thank you, I look like I'm 25, Owen. Why are you laughing? So for like 5 years, I've been like having all these moments where I feel like my mom with technology. So embarrassing. I'll be like, I'm doing it. And my husband will press the button like Dennis just did, and it works. I don't know.